I screwed up. I completely forgot that I was moving my money through my different LLCs. So when you looked at my financial statements, it looked like I had borrowed 400 grand from my companies. The banks looked at it and says, you're already 400 grand in debt on paper and you're trying to take out this loan. What are you doing? And I ended up losing the building. Learn from me to pay attention to all of the financial statements very, very, very carefully. All right, how's everybody doing? It's another beautiful day. I tell you what, we got a little June gloom over here in San Diego. We got May gray, June gloom, which is pretty much a cutesy way of saying the same damn weather. And then it's going to get nice and warm. So getting close to it. We're about summer solstice. Oh, it's getting light or staying late a lot later, which is awesome. We love that. More time to play outside. All right. We've been talking about buildings back and forth, and I've been kind of showing you the inside of what's going on here. And so we're going to talk more about buildings and what it chain reacted and everything in between right now. We had a building in January that we were looking at, and I screwed up. This was a me problem. This was a me fault. I completely forgot that I was moving my money through my different LLCs up to my parent company and then taking that as a distribution for tax purposes. And my CFO at the time had not moved the distribution. She just put loan to officer on the financial statements. So when you looked at my financial statements, it looked like I had borrowed 400 grand from my companies. They weren't booked right. A simple 5-minute error. But the banks looked at it and says, you're already 400 grand in debt on paper. You have to give it back and you're trying to take out this loan. What are you doing? And I couldn't backpedal fast enough and I ended up losing the building. So learn from me to pay attention to all of the financial statements very, very, very carefully. And make sure that, everything's written the way it is and it's very, very clean. If you do any funny financial math, which I do as a tax strategist, I do all that all the time, you got to be able to explain it, be able to backpedal and explain every part of it. In this particular case, I fell into a different an account because I wasn't paying attention and we never moved it and made it correct. And there we go. So that sucked. 7 years looking for a building. It's been struggling like crazy. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, something came up. In February, 2 acres of land in Santee, right where I want it to be, right in the little hub of where I want to be in, East San Diego. 2 acres for $3.2 million. 2 little tiny acres for $3.2 million. And then I was remembered that we are in the most expensive city in the entire United States to work and live at. So yay us for the San Diego. At least the weather's good. So I looked at it and said, okay, if we take the land, I got to build a building. The building's going to cost $7 million to what I want, about a 26,000 square foot building. Nice offices, nice layout, all of those things. And we got to figure out, how we're going to do this Henry Ford assembly line and to drive through and where our crane trucks can be parked inside and grab the load and move. And then the trucks will be parked outside if we don't need it. And every which way imaginable, how we're going to build this thing so it's perfect for the sign guy. And I got a hold of Hammond Construction here and went through the motions with him. And he made this a very beautiful turnkey setup that goes, Aaron, look, I've known you for a long time. Let me do this. I'll buy the land. I'll build the building. We're going to do a 10-year lease. And then right before you move in, you have an option to buy it. And you just buy it from me, hook, line, and sinker, the whole thing, and I just turn it over to you. Makes my life really easy because I want to do an SBA loan. Well, an SBA loan, you can't buy just land. It has to be movable. You have to have over 50% of it. It's 10% down. There's a lot of rules that go with the SBA. Just want to take a moment to talk about Square Coil here. Square Coil has been powering the signage industry since 2011, and we're only growing bigger and better and stronger every single day. Some of the latest updates have just made my life a lot easier. I'm sure it's going to make your life a lot easier. So if you haven't checked us out, go ahead and get on our website, squarecoil.com. Take a look. And if you have an outdated key, an old software program that's going to be closing its doors this year, definitely take a look at us because we can make that transition real simple for you. Take a look at squarecoil.com. And so I was like, well, this makes my life really simple. Yes, I would love to do that. Now there's a small percentage fee that he's going to charge. And I think it was 3%. So it's not cheap to go this route, but it does make all the dominoes line up perfectly. So I pulled the trigger with that one. I signed the 10-year lease. He bought the land. We closed escrow tomorrow. or the next day, I think tomorrow. And the land is ours, and away we go. We had our first initial meeting with the city of Santee. They brought in 14 officials. Thought that was a little bit overkill, but hey, what do I know? We had engineering, we had fire, we had safety, we had planning, we had commerce. And commerce wanted to know how many more jobs I was going to bring to the city of Santee, how much growth I was going to have. They wanted to see the impact I was going to have on Santee. We had roads there. They were literally seeing how much more traffic we were going to put onto the street. Lots of questions. There was a lot of good questions. There were some dumb questions. Ironically, out of all the dumb questions, I thought the dumbest one was the fire department. They wanted a fire hydrant right at our front doors. Now, I got a question for you. If you are trying to put out a fire inside of a building, do you want to get right next to the building that's on fire to get to a fire hydrant? Or would you like it about 50 feet away so it can stay away from you? So we asked the question, to which he kind of didn't have an answer, and he didn't hobbies. He realized he had screwed up. And so I'm hoping that when we get our paperwork back next week with all the comments, that'll be the fire hydrant we moved over. So Santee signed off, the developer's on board, and right before I went to sign the lease, I said, oops, I might want to get my SBA involved again. So got my SBA involved, got my bank involved, and said, hey guys, I'm doing this. It's 2 years out before I'm actually going to see this, and we got 2 years to put my SBA together. I need $1 million down for the down payment. This building's going to end up being around $10 million when it's all said and done, says my gut. And so how are we going to do this? Well, that is the question of the day. So the SBA guy, rock star, gave me a list. This is what I want to see. Every 3 months, I just want to see financials. Every 3 months, see your financials. Create a new LLC right now. Start putting your deposit funds into that LLC so you have the proof of funds when the time comes and everything else. So we have signed. It is official. We are moving. This land is mine. The building's going to be mine. Away we go. Now, for a company that only does $6 million a year in revenue, how the hell am I going to afford a $10 million building? Well, that's a damn good question. And I would like to say this kept me up at night, but I'm one of those sick people that moving and changing does not make me stay up at night. The ability to not act is what makes me stay up at night. If I don't know which way we're going and I'm sitting here waiting for somebody else to make a decision, I will lose my shit. That is something that's so difficult for me to do because at the end of the day, I want to move forward. I want to make a change. If it's not going to happen, kill the deal. If it's going to happen, let's move forward. But that just sitting there waiting, shoot me. So now that we actually finally signed the deal, we actually have a building coming on board, I am laser focused. And what my wife always says is, you always do better when you're carrying a heavy load. Just like in the 18-wheelers. If it's a light load, the trailer's going to bounce all over the place. If it's loaded incorrectly, it's going to swap on you. But a nice heavy load is going to give that engine a good feel. It's going to give a good push, and it's going to have momentum. So we are under the gun to, save $1 million over the next 24 months. So back to basics we go. Back to basics. And you guys all know the basics. How much sales do we have coming in? How much production are we getting out the back door? And how much cash flow are we getting every month? Those are the three that we're going to be staring at. How much is coming in? How much are we working on it? And how much is going out the back door? Those are the three. And you got to work on all those. And the basics start with just asking questions. If you guys learn anything from this podcast today, is this right here: manage by walking around. You have to. You have to manage by walking around. People need to see you. You need to ask them questions and make sure that you're paying attention so they don't go slack. I've been crying about my accountant being gone and having to deal with the accountant for the last month, right? Well, nobody saw me. The whole place got laxed. So for the last 72 hours, I've been walking around the sign shop a lot more, saying hi to everybody, asking what they're doing. It's amazing how production has gone up. It is amazing how magical everybody's doing their job just a little bit better. That is what happens when you manage by walking around. Don't ever underestimate that power of being present. It's so important. Everybody wants to see. They want to get the recognition. They want you to see that they're doing hard. They want to see they're not the only ones busting their hump while you're out playing golf. They want to see that it's a bigger audience and a bigger project, a bigger environment that they're working in. And it's not just them by themselves. So manage by walking around is a big thing we've been doing today. Flushed out some more projects. And in the end, it worked out really well. It did work out really well. I'm excited for this. I sleep well at night because I have a direction that I'm going to. It is daunting to have a $68,000 a month mortgage. Absolutely. We just added about $500,000 to our mortgage/rent. in that little file there in 2 years. So it's daunting. It really is. But the good news is we have a direction and we have a reason to be alive. We have a reason to grow. We have a reason to go after those accounts and be more aggressive than we've ever been before. That's exciting. That's fun. As I become, more aggressive and we start to do different things and try the ones that work, I'm going to let you know. The ones that don't work, I'm really going to let you know because I want to bitch about them, because that's what a podcast is for. Let you know the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. Talk to you guys next week.